Coming in to take over command of the fire. They'll be taking over tomorrow morning. So they're both going to give short statements on the operational objectives for the teams. Then we're going to have the emergency management specialist, Rich Magnuson, who's from the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. He's going to give a short statement on structures, confirmed structures lost, evacuee levels, evacuation type stuff. That's what he does. So if you we're not really going to do a whole lot of Q&A with this. Then we'll go into our dignitaries. We'll start with Governor Jay Inslee, U.S. Service Force Chief Tom Tidwell, Senator Patty Murray from Washington, of course, Senator Maria Cantwell from Washington, Congressman Dave Reichert, District 8, Peter Goldmark, the Washington State Commissioner of Public Lands. So that's going to be our order. So you're going to first get the operational briefing, and then each of those people will be able to give statements. Okay?
Can we get those first two names again, please?
Yes. So our Instant Commander from Pacific Northwest, Team 2 Instant Commanders, Chris Schulte, S-C-H-U-L-T-E. His team has been on this fire for 19-20 days. The incoming team's Instant Commander, Clay Templin, T-E-M-P-L-A-N. They're going to be taking over the fire at 0600 tomorrow morning. So we're on a transition day today. That's why we're staying with our focus and doing operational briefing first, and then we'll have everybody else speak. Okay? So once we start, that's how it's going to go. Any questions about that?
Hey, Kale. Just started. I mean, like, I don't need to get up there.
Okay. Well, my name is Kel Casey, Public Information Officer for Pacific Northwest Team 2. We're the incident management team that's been working on the Wolverine, Blankenship, Chelan Complex fires, McFarland and Black Canyon fires, which are now won. We've been here for 20 days. Our incident commander is Chris Schulte. I'll introduce him. He's going to introduce the incoming team's Type 1 incident commander, Clay Templin. I see Chris Schulte.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chris Schulte. I'm the incident commander for Pacific Northwest Team number 2. It's my privilege to share with you how our day started down in camp. We did an excellent briefing for the troops that are going out there. We reminded them all that we have a responsibility to stay on focus and stay on task today. And it's an incredibly good way for us to honor the fallen firefighters yesterday is by taking care of the thousands of young firefighters that are out on the ground still. So that is the focus of our attention. Safety is our #1 priority always, but we dialed it up even more today. So share with you kind of the schedule we've had. This morning at 9 o'clock we did a briefing for Senator Murray, Cantwell, the Chief of the Forest Service, the Governor of the State of Washington, the Commissioner of Lands, a number of people who are here to find out what's going on and to see what they can do to help. And we were able to give them a briefing. Probably took us about 20-25 minutes, and we were able to get them all on the same page, and so they all have the same level of knowledge of what's going on in the area, so they can get together and get aligned. Soon after that, we came up here, and upstairs we have what we refer to as a cooperators meeting. Those meetings have happened every day since we arrived. They help us align with our local resources and our local cooperators, local fire districts, commissioners, and they've been extremely valuable to us, and they've gone very well. We've been exchanging information every morning at about 10 to 11, and it really helps us make sure that we're covering everything that they are concerned about. Before I turn the podium over to my partner Clay Templin, who is in here from the Southwest Team number 1, I'd like to tell you that we anticipate that the fire weather today will be worse than it was yesterday. We should have more rate of spread and more acreage burned than we did yesterday. And we're expecting wind in the afternoon. It's going to come in through the fire area at approximately 35 to 45 miles an hour steady for most of the afternoon. That's going to result in a lot of fire activity out on the ground, because we have an awful lot of fire on our area, and there's a lot of fire to the north also. So you should anticipate that we will have a spread event today. We are prepared to work in as close to it as we can, but this kind of activity does not provide us with the chance to get in real close and real tight. We'll be able to shore up a number of things that we've been working on and make sure they're going to hold, but it won't provide us with opportunity to get in and try to get in close on new open line nearly as well as the weather a couple days ago did, And there's another favorable weather event coming in 2 days from now that will also provide Clay with the opportunity to get his resources in close and in hand and start tying things together. So on that note, I'd like to introduce Clay Templin. He is here, as I said, from the Southwest. He's with team number 1, and he has some words for you. Thank you very much. Oh, if I may. We're also in the midst of a transfer of command. The Pacific Northwest team number 2 leaves the area tomorrow at 0600, at which time Clay takes the command and control of the situation, and I'm here to tell you they're going to do a fantastic job for you all. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you very much. And to echo what Chris said, for the citizens here within the communities, it's a very seamless transition. You'll see it go from blue shirts to black shirts. Chris and I have been talking over the last couple of days. Both of our teams are fully integrated. They're working simultaneously today, and we're going ahead and doing those things that we need to. And so it's important to realize that with the tragedy last night, both our teams responded by sending our operations personnel to help those guys through the event, and then we'll be coming back here to pick up our priorities. We have a number of things that are going on today. We have operations that are taking place on the Castle Creek portion of the Wolverine fire. We intend to keep that checked today to the best we can. We've got operations that happened last night on the First Creek fire. First Creek fire, we went ahead and had, with the sheriff's help, a partial evacuation. We've gone ahead, we're optimistic that we'll be able to go ahead and tie in another dozer line back into the scree. We're working actively to get that done. And along with it, if you've seen the previous maps, you've seen the McFarland, the Black Canyon, and the Reach fires. I can tell you now that we have connected those. It's one fire, it's the Reach fire. So we're actively working and going ahead and securing that area immediately north of this town of Chelan and trying to get that connected. Our guys, like Chris said, they did 6 miles of burnout yesterday. We're going to go ahead and do that again. Knowing that the conditions are really extreme potentially today, our guys are going to be very cautious as far as what they can get done. So safety is our number one priority, and we're going to take things cautiously. We'll see how the day comes along, and we'll go ahead and respond accordingly to that. So important to realize we're actively engaged, and we're going to try to do our best to get those targets done that we want to today. So with that, I'll say thanks.
Do you have any questions for the operational side of it? We'll take those now. Other than that, we're going to finish the operational side and we'll reset for our next segment. Any questions for Incident Commander Schulte or Incident Commander Templin?
Either. We'll both go up there.
How many people were deployed last night to the Twisp fire from the Chelan fire?
Yesterday around 1 o'clock, we sent one of our large Type 1 helicopters over there. As soon as they realized they had an issue going, we also sent a number of state mobilization resources over there last night. The night before, we lent them a night crew of 5 Type 6 engines. They were also over there last night. There was overhead from both teams, our operations chiefs and a few of the branch directors, probably five or six people from both teams. Leadership went over there, helped the local districts organize and get a good plan on the ground. And I also heard there was probably like 3 miles of structural engines from the state that were lined up, and they were able to hold the road down there in the middle of the Twisp. I'm not exact sure of the landmark, but they were able to hold it at a good point to get started and keep it going.
Chris, what's been the most effective tool for you so far? Has it been the retardant that you dropped? Has it been the lines? What's been most effective?
The most effective? It's always going to be the firefighters, the actual firefighters that are lacing up their boots every morning. Those folks, in particular the use of fire, their use of fire and their knowledge of how to burn things out so that the line is black and therefore the fuel has been removed from it, and therefore it greatly lessens the opportunity for it to get across the line when there's no fuel on one side. So I would have to say that the ground people are the best tool. Close behind is the support that they get from air, both retardant and water. The heavy helicopters, I've never had a day where I didn't enjoy watching one of those fly around. They are really effective. So that's about it.
Yeah, you have to remember, we're also only going to take those actions where we have a high degree of probability of success. So we're going to concentrate on those efforts where we get the most bang for our buck. So, but I echo Chris's sentiments. Yes, ma'am.
Are you expecting the military folks from JPLM to come and join to this fire? How many, and will that be helpful?
The military folks?
Yeah.
We currently have a group of 5 20-person crews from the Washington National Guard that are on the fire. they've been engaged in a very active part of the fire. They're right in there. We were involved, actually helped train them up this year over at the Yakima Firing Center in Washington, and they are up there engaged in the fight. So we have 100 there, and I heard the other day we might be getting 2 more 20-person crews from that same contingent that are also going to join their fellows and get up there and keep fighting.
Do you all anticipate more evacuations today with the weather worsening and things like that?
I would anticipate the same program we've had to date, and that is a very fluid, very complex, but an extremely efficient evacuation process in place where we rotate through level 1, 2, and 3, notice that there's an impending danger, notice that there's a likelihood you need to be out, and 3 is you need to leave, please. In the state of Washington, you can stay if you choose to, and that is something we respect and honor. But the local sheriff's office does the evacuations everywhere we go, and this one is the best in the West. They do an incredibly good job of getting that word out to people, making sure they're getting to safety, and clearing the neighborhoods when we ask them to, or let them know that there's something going on.
Can you speak to the danger that firefighters face?
So I can tell you for today, again, we have all those things. You know, you can kind of feel it in the air today. It's a little drier than it was yesterday. So of course you always have that as far as, you know, hydration issues. You've also got the high temperatures, so they also face those kind of issues. And then compounding, it's not easy country. In fact, we're not going to go and put our folks into those parts where we don't have a high degree of success. You know, we're not going to expose them to that. So all those kind of things.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead and move on to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commanders. David Postman. This is actually kind of a pause period. We're going to reset now. David Postman.
We're just going to take a quick break for a minute, and then the governor of the congressional delegation, Chief Tidwell, will talk briefly and then take your questions. We also have the head of the National Guard here, so just 1 sec if you guys want to stand down. General? Yep. Yeah, I think everyone can understand. Yeah, we'll do that.
I'm Governor Jay Inslee of the state of Washington, and I've come to say that we know that these fires have burned a big hole in our state's heart. And with the loss of these 3 firefighters, we know the smoke is still there and it's thick, but it is not going to obscure their incredible act of courage. These are 3 big heroes protecting small towns, and we are going to remember them, and there are 7 million Washingtonians that today are embracing them and their families and praying for them and hoping for the speedy recovery of our injured. These are people who are lost doing what firefighters do, which is to rush towards the fire rather than away. And the one thing we can do, in addition to protecting ourselves and our family members by being safe in the days to come, are to thank a firefighter no matter where they are and what agency they work for. We have over 3,000 firefighters today across the state of Washington who are stepping into harm's way. And we in the state of Washington thank them, who have come from all across the country. I met firefighters from Michigan, from Colorado, from the Department of Natural Resources. We've got 400 National Guards troops and our Forest Service personnel who have this deep wound in their family. And Chief, I want you to know, I'm glad you're here today. I know these are going to be tough days for your family. We will stand with you and your family in the days to come. I do want to say that this is an unprecedented cataclysm in our state. There are 390,000 acres burning. Last year was bad with 250,000 acres. We have 26 aerial equipment fighting this fire, as I said, over 3,000 people. We are mustering all of the resources that can be safely deployed to fight these fires. And what all of us can do as citizens are to try to cooperate with law enforcement and fire personnel. It's very important now. These are extremely dangerous fires, and we know we have wind conditions today that give us pause. So I want to thank everyone who's standing by these families in the days to come. We know these will be hard, and we thank everyone who are doing everything they can to make sure the evergreen state does not become an ever fire state. We have a lot of work to do. And I want to thank Chief Tidwell, who will now address us, and thank him for his leadership in this effort. Thanks, Chief.
Well, Governor, thank you. I'm Tom Tidwell, Chief of the U.S. Forest Service, and I'm here today with Jim Pena, our Regional Forester for Oregon and Washington. We have over 100 uncontained large fires across 15 states, 26,000 people out there working. It's an incredible response from not only the federal agencies, but our state partners, our counties, and local fire. And together, we're having tremendous success. In addition to that, we keep the adequate resources available for initial attack to make sure we're doing everything we can to avoid another large fire. That's the 98% of the fires we take care of day in and day out. That if you don't report on those, understand that. But it's important for folks to really know the work that's going on. In addition to the resources we have out now, we're bringing on some additional folks from the Department of Defense that hopefully will be available by this weekend. We're also reaching out to our partners in Canada and bringing some overhead positions in from Australia that we've worked with in the past to provide relief for the crews that we have out there right now. And as was demonstrated earlier from the report on these fires here, the teams are doing an excellent job to prioritize where we can be effective with resources, sharing those resources, especially our aviation assets that we have available here, the large air tankers, the water scoopers, especially our large helicopters. I appreciate the Governor's remarks about our lost firefighters. And definitely our thoughts and prayers are with their families, with their friends as we move forward, and also for both the DNR employees that were injured and along with our Forest Service employee that's currently fighting for his life. So I know you have a lot of questions about that, and I just need to ask you to give us a little bit of time. We're in the process of making sure the families have completed all their notifications so that the family hear it from them first. After that's been completed, we'll be able to share with you some additional information. As to what actually happened that night, we bring in a team of experts and working closely with Washington State DNR to be able to do our review, to determine just what happened, determine what we can learn from that situation. But once again, this is going to take a little while to be able to pull this information together. So once again, I'd ask you for your patience with that, and as information does become available, we will share that. That being said, we also need to be thinking about these communities at risk and these tens of thousands of folks that are putting their lives at risk every day, these men and women. They're doing a tremendous job, not only for Washington, but throughout the country. And with that, thank you, and I appreciate you folks being here today.